Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 27, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose. That was, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I personally guide virtually every movement by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people over the years with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, before we get into things today, I'm going to start things off a little normally, really. But I see we have LA Moon in the office, in the room. LA, how's it going? LA, I really do rely on a lot, not only on the moderating side, but to make sure I don't actually end up dropping dead while I'm on air. And of course, as we all know, Storm is hiding in the background. And before anybody decides that, oh, Storm is being a little rough, how about if we realize that I actually asked him to do that? So you want to complain to somebody? That'd be me. Of course, I'm going to ignore you, but, what the heck? Now, coming in with the gold, we have Renee Andrews. Renee, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I see you managed to pull the gold today. And Eternity Eternal, welcome back. And thank you very much for the welcome back from you. It's been a long run. You are in with the silver, Eternity. And yeah, I will fill you in on I will fill everybody in for a short period on what went on. Okay. Now we slide down and we have Joe Stewart. Joe, thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah, I do appreciate it. Glad to see you back. You are in with the bronze. And coming in with honorable mention, we have Rachel Andrews. How you doing, Rachel? Glad you could join us. Now, and that's where the numbers in the house are. Now, with this in mind, where did my list go? I'm actually getting a little more organized. Okay. Now, let's start with the obvious issue. Okay. As you guys know, finances have been a shambles for me. Not for lack of trying, but the reality is I've been relying on other people. And I've had more setbacks than I care to count. However, and that had to take priority because if it didn't, I was on the street and this whole system shuts down whether I die or not. Now, with that in mind, that was one of the complications. Of course, my stress goes up, my health collapses. My health collapses, so do the computers. And I know it sounds weird, but when my system is offline, computers have a bird. Now, where are we here? Okay, so that being said, what I didn't know where it came to, the inheritance I've talked about, is I just simply didn't have the information. Got that straightened out with my brother. So now that's moving forward. Plus, he managed to get me set up so that by about the end of November, I should be getting my old age pension. Now, for at least part of it. That said, financial stress really essentially has collapsed. Still behind the 8 ball, but at least I'm making headway. Now, I am really pleasantly surprised to find out that I actually haven't lost any subscribers in the last couple of weeks. But got the finances worked out, threw my back out, partly because of the stress, so using painkillers, which I very seldom touch. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time there. Okay. But This is why we've been set there and why we've been set back. Now, here's another neat little sidetrack. Not sidetrack, something else that went on in the background while I was working away. Okay, while I was working along there. And Shade Viking, how you doing? Glad you could join us. We've got a lot of books on the go, as you well know. What you're not likely aware of is while I've been getting my office organized, stumbled across an old short story I wrote. As it turns out, it is tied directly to the Ildebakian Chronicles. Now, that said, pull this thing down. And again, guys, any books or the consulting or simply support, all of it is available at that link at the top of the stream, the Buy Me a Coffee link. And Joe goes, the sun here just set at 7:21 p.m. Yeah, it will be a while before the sun sets on our end. But this is one of the novels I've got. The short story I just completed ties directly to this series. What I don't know is if I wrote it before I wrote the outline for the novels. But here's the neat little thing with that short story. Okay, with the other books like this one, right? This cover was done by my artist in England. When I look at that's gonna hurt. When we take a look at Races of the World, okay, the pictures in it are being done by a chap down. I believe he lives in Texas. That would be Chris Holm. Okay, but these books, the self-help, these are designed actually by my printer. Okay, and as you've seen on the back, okay, that's believe in yourself and follow your dreams. On the back, you'll see a little lighthouse. Well, if you look up in the corner here, right above the on-air sign, you can see the top of the lighthouse. That is the lighthouse. Okay, now the cover, like I said, was designed by my printer. Now, the short story, okay, is going to be coming out. It's written already. It's already set up. I got 2 things left to do, i.e. put the ISBN number in and what have you. But this little monster is exactly what the short story is about. So what I'm going to do is finish painting him up and take him down to my printer, get them to take a picture of him. That will become the dominant part of the cover. And we'll figure out what to do from there. Then it goes to print. Now, as it turns out, like, these are just things that have been on the go. Okay. Now, like I said, we were going to take a look. We were going to look at a couple of things here. So, trusty clipboard works like a charm. The reason I trust this, I can set it down right there. It never moves. Okay. But that's why I've been held up, why I kept having to postpone. It's like, let's try and do this. Turns out, when you're organizing your life, organizing it moment by moment or project by project, when you're the only one affected, is easy. Trying to organize it, geez, did not need that. Oh. I will have to contact them a little. I know who that is. So, that'll have to wait. Sorry, I hate being startled like that. It used to never bother me. But, what we're looking at, when you try organizing for other people to coincide with somebody else, things go sideways, which is why last week I finally said, scrap it, postpone it for a week, I should have it done. It's all dealt with. Now, let's get on with the real key here. Okay, we're going to take a look at healing in a new light. Okay, now I do have to point out, well, I don't have to. If you're dealing with a doctor, a pharmacist, a naturopath, whatever, I am not one. Okay, so I'm telling you flat out, if you're on medication, if you're getting guidance from a counselor, from a doctor, doesn't matter, stay working with them. Okay, we'll get into how to deal with that later. Probably not today, but the fact of the matter is, I don't know about you, when I snapped my arm years ago, way more important to go to a doctor that's been trained on how to put it back together than go to the butcher in the neighborhood and get them to try and rebuild it. So whether you like doctors or not, okay, absolutely, if you're dealing with them, stay with what they're telling you. Absolutely double check. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, talk to the pharmacist about your medications. Make sure you understand everything. The catch here is this. The reason I was in so much financial stress is because I didn't ask the right questions. Of course, hiccup. I did not know the right questions to ask. Same thing with medical or with anything to do with finance. Always talk to somebody that has done it successfully before. You cannot ask the right questions if you don't know what they are. And with that in mind, when you've got questions in the chat room here, absolutely put them in the chat room in all caps. Okay. I am going to be figuring out how to expand things a little, but that's one step at a time. The reality of it is, the thing you've been taught in all likelihood is that you absolutely have to know what's wrong with you for your body to heal. Okay. Now, what would you do if I told you that is misguided information? The reality is this. As far as I've discovered, your body knows how to heal. It already knows what's wrong. So, when your body is off kilter, absolutely talk to professionals you trust, or for that matter, laymen you trust. I am not a licensed doctor or psychologist in any functional form. I am licensed as an intuitive counselor, also as a psychic, and I'll keep that. I'll stay working with that. Don't mind me. I just want my airflow up. And that said, when you take a look at the consulting I've done over the last, started 23, so 40, what would it be? 38 years now, I have dealt with well over 100,000 clients. I know that sounds insane, but that's okay. And before somebody jumps on it, let's not go with, where's your proof? Not going to provide it. Okay. And you can do with that what you will. But here's the thing. When it comes to healing, the first thing you have to realize, or that you would be wise to realize, in my opinion, is that your body already knows what's wrong. Let your body do its job. Okay. Now, I just literally this afternoon, uncovered the secret that I've been asking you guys about for ages. How do you go about rebuilding your teeth? Well, my body figured it out. Okay. You see, when you cut yourself, your body will form a scab over the cut. This stops other infections from getting in. Then it rebuilds on the inside. Now, when we talk about your teeth specifically, and again, if you're going to a dentist, go. I suffer from PTSD triggered by the dentist. So I'm not able to go. Okay. Or maybe we should put it this way. Not able to go without having a complete meltdown. But a scab forms over top of a cut. and then the body heals it on the inside. Well, all of my teeth on the right-hand side, all the bottom teeth, the molars, are all sheared off at the gum line. Okay, now I've had troubles with them, but here's the kicker. My body went and grew the gum over top of it, and I got told, okay, now we're sealed. Now we'll start rebuilding the teeth, and we'll see how that works. But I'm not suffering from pain from them anymore. I'm suffering from pain from them a whole lot less. But the gums have now sealed over the teeth. Now the healing can take place. Okay, now here's the neat thing about all healing. Now, I will tell you, I've got a bad right leg. That's a skeletal rebuild. I'm not cutting it off to get it rebuilt. Sorry, we'll just deal with what we got. So, when we're dealing with the healing side of it, understand your body already knows what's wrong. Okay, so that's the first thing to take into mind, take into consideration. And remember, and this is in tandem, like in conjunction with any healing technique you're using. Okay, take your hands and put them palms towards each other. You notice this funny thing kind of looks like I'm praying? In a manner of speaking, and we discussed that the other day. That's another topic for down the road. Take your hands, put the palms towards each other, separate them by a quarter inch, by half an inch, maybe an inch. Okay, and focus on the energy, on the think, then speak. Focus on the feeling between those hands. Okay, you'll feel something. Now, some of you are going to go, well, of course you will, because you just suggested it, so I'm going to feel it. Well, I'll tell you what. If it were that easy, we'd all be multi-billionaires. There'd be peace on earth, the whole 9 yards. It doesn't work quite that simply. But, in other words, my saying it happens does not mean you'll necessarily go through it. However, put your hands half an inch to an inch apart and focus on the energy between them. Okay, you may call it body heat, you may call it magnetism, or bioelectricity. Maybe you're going to do like one person and call it bubbles. Okay, remember, energy runs both directions. Unlike modern electricity, where if you want the electricity to go the other way, you got to rewire the whole thing, and I don't understand that part. But the energy running between your hands is running both directions. Oh, there we go. Joe's going, yay, OCD of the upstairs windows tonight. Well, that ought to be entertaining. You know, the nice part about it, when you feel that energy, concentrate on it as it gets stronger, as you can feel it more pronounced. Separate your hands as far as you can. This will encourage you to build the energy flow, but always keep one word in mind. And that word is heal. Now, here's the kicker to it. Why does your body heal? It's because you decide you're going to let it. Now, key factor. I had to figure out how to stand up without throwing my back out. That was fun. These 4 words. I am worth it. If you don't have them on your fridge already, get them there. Okay. They are the 4 most powerful words that I have ever found in conjunction with each other to enhance self-help, self-worth, self-healing. You get the picture? So that is a backbone to making certain things work for you. Now, here's the neat little thing. Okay, and I actually do think, then speak. I've actually got a list of topics or stages that I desire to be going through today. Okay, So, and again, doesn't matter what we're talking about. If you've got a question, drop it into the chat room, preferably in all caps so I can find the thing. This is amazing. We've actually got 13 people in the room. That's absolutely amazing. Lord knows how many are listening from the backside. But if you take that and go with the factor of 6 I was talking about, we're looking at 78 people listening, which I'm quite content with. Now, when you look at healing, let me ask you this. If you think about it, you don't have to answer, but input in the chat room will be more than appreciated. But take a look at your health. Are you content with the way your health is? Okay. If there is one aspect of your health that you're not happy with, that's the one we start with. Now, here's a neat little thing. Okay. Back in 2007, okay, so we're talking 15 years ago. If I held my glasses right there, I could not see them. Now, with where it comes to reading, at last check with the optometrist about 3 weeks ago, I've got almost 20/20 eyesight where it comes to reading. Whether he was being honest or not, I have no clue. What I do know is that when I take a look at a book like this, I can now open it up and I can actually read what it says while it's down here instead of having to have it way up here. Okay. And again, this one, believe in yourself and follow your dreams. This is the backbone to how I actually turned my life from an absolute wreck to what you're going to find is a very prosperous future. Well, something just popped. I put my glass down, can't remember where I put them. By the way, eyes are healing, brain's going on vacation, I think. Oh, fantastic, LA. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we went down to see LA Moon and Storm down at their place back in August. And this is absolutely fantastic that your stamina is improving. I'll tell you, it opens doors like you wouldn't believe until you get there. Okay. Nice little part about all this is when we look at healing, take a look at what you're not content with. That's the first thing we look at. And yes, tonight we are going to cover the issue, the basics on why self-healing works. But I cannot, as far as I'm aware, emphasize enough that if you're working with a medical professional, stay working with them. These techniques are not replacements. Okay. And yeah, somebody out there is going, but you won't go to a doctor. Well, you're right, I won't. But here's the kicker. I snapped my arm so badly they had to bolt it back into place. Now, that I went to a doctor for. But here's what you got to realize with my healing. Okay, it took me 9 days to heal a completely severed bone back into one piece. Okay, now if you've got a healing like that, doctors may become a little redundant. Okay, I just found that most of you, a doctor will work. Okay, well, at least they've got more education than you do. You get to have your own period. Shade. The answer, just a quick reminder, I will answer that right away here, Shade. Just a quick reminder, though. Absolutely, if you've got questions, put them in all caps. It makes it easier for me to spot them. Thank you very much for that. Now, Shade has asked, Shade Viking goes, Keith, do you practice Reiki or have you heard of it? The answer is no and yes. But here's the kicker. Okay, I've heard of Reiki, but I have never been trained. Okay, I don't know any of the sigils. I don't know any of the practice that they do. I do, however, I do work with accelerated healing and with energy work. Okay, the big difference. Okay, now I've got Reiki masters that come to me because of the fact I heal faster than they do. But here's the thing: with Reiki, you're taught draw the energy through your crown chakra, down through your body, through the heart, out through the arms, and then use your hands to guide it. Now, understanding that energy works like water. Okay, it flows where it's drawn. So you picture this as a flow of water, and you're a straw. Okay, turn the tap water on. This will make it real blatantly obvious. Most people that practice Reiki turn around and they tell me they get tired when they're working with it. Here's the reason: you pull the energy through your system and out through your hands. Use your hands to direct where it's going. Now, here's the kicker: when you run water through a pipe, it will leave all kinds of little deposits. Reiki masters will tell you, do the healing, make sure you clear yourself. Makes sense, because as the energy goes through your body, the negative, whatever negatives are out there, will collect inside your system. Net result, slowing the energy flow, ultimately making you more tired. This is why you've got to heal it. Now, take a straw. Okay, turn the water tap on. Take the one end of the straw and stick it into the water flow. Okay, you'll notice the water goes through the straw, and you move the straw, or your hand, if you will, to where you'd like it to go. That's the first kicker to it. Okay. Now, when you do that, the energy, the impurities will build up. In my case, I never got taught any of it. I learned on my own. Here's the way I work it. I don't take a straw. I take a steel rod. You still got the flow of water. Okay, you still got the flow of energy coming down. You're still pulling into your crown chakra. But then you pull it around the outside of your body, much like a steel rod. Okay, steel rod, pen, whatever. Stick it in the water. The water will flow down the outside of the pen. Okay, turn it, move it where you will. Your hands, in other words, to guide it where it's going. Okay, now, it will still collect impurities, but the impurities will be on the outside of the pen, okay, of the rod. Net result, it will not slow the water flow down at all. Okay, still an idea to clear off once in a while, but it won't affect the energy flow. Net result, you won't get tired. Okay, now, for those of you that have this brilliant idea that I'm doing something, something evil. God created a man in man's image, and priests are the ones that do the healing. Doctors are the ones that do the healing. Doctors, absolutely. If you've got a broken limb, go talk to a doctor. Prayer and wishful thinking isn't necessarily going to do the job. But when you're looking at energy work, remember, if somebody tells you they are an energy healer, they do not require physical contact. If they tell you they've got to put hands on you, they're not dealing with pure energy. There are other techniques, like, for instance, pranic healing, reflexology, acupuncture. These are still very viable, very valuable healing techniques. Again, they can be used in conjunction with the other modalities. Okay, so when I'm working, I pull the energy around the outside of me. Net result, I don't get tired. Now, here's the other kicker where it comes to healing with energy. Most of you have been taught You have to use your hand to put it where it will. Okay? Problem, or more to the point, an oversight. I can do the exact same thing by thinking about healing. Take the energy from the third eye and the Merkaba band, okay, and direct your intention on that healing spot. And still run the same word, whatever language you speak, use it. Okay, the word you're looking for is heal. Okay, now I will tell you, if you work with energy in conjunction with modern medicine, whether it's medication, herbalism, diet, all of these things play a part. Okay, but if you're using the energy work to accelerate the healing, to enhance it, you could find your healing rate climb rather drastically. Okay, I've had one cold in 25 years. Okay, I don't recall the last time I had a flu. Food poisoning I've had a couple of times, but that was like, I remember one day I left chicken out because I didn't have a fridge, so I left cooked chicken out for the night. Ate it in the morning, it barely got into my stomach before it came right back up. Gross image, but that's how, and then I was fine for the rest of the day. That's how fast my body heals. Most people aren't like that. Let's just take a look at this. Like I said, I've got a checklist here to make sure I get to it. Now, when we take a look at that, and again, all of this is connected. Gotta find my eyeball so I know what time I'm working on. There we are. Now, this is where it gets into that other little thing. I mentioned right at the beginning that when, just coming back to that for half a second. Shade. If you've never experienced it, do find somebody, the most important chakra. Okay, that's what the energy centers are called. If you're going to go to somebody that is telling you they work with Reiki, two things to be aware of. One, tell them to open up your foot chakras. They'll know what that is. I'm not going to show you my feet, they're gross. Okay, but tell them to get your foot chakras and your crown chakra open. If they tell you that the foot chakra is a minor chakra and it's not important, walk away. Go find a different healer, because that one, frankly, has missed the boat. Give you an idea of how important foot chakras are. I had a young lass come to me one day. Her mom brought her to me because she was in a wheelchair. I opened up her foot chakras, did a couple of other things, and literally within 2 or 3 sessions, we had her walking. It wasn't until a year later I found out that she had been trapped in a wheelchair for 3.5 years. So, foot chakras are of critical import. Okay, now if you get somebody claiming to do energy work, claiming to do Reiki, and they tell you foot chakras are not important, go find a different healer. Don't argue with them, just go find a different healer. Okay, same applies if they tell you they have to make contact, then they're not working strictly with energy. Think of it this way. On the corporeal human body, the most common people, the massive majority, probably 75% of the people that come to me are female. Okay, of course, the reality there is females seem to be a little bit more open to working with energy than males are, because it's a feeling thing instead of a logic thing. We're going to put logic into it before the end of this session, by the way. Okay, now here's the thing. The two most common areas to get jammed up causing health issues for people. It's the solar plexus and the groin. Now, if I have to have physical contact, how much work do you really think in the way of energy work I'm really going to pull? Now, let's see. Ellie's asking, does the belief of the person being healed help or hinder the healing process in being healed? Well, I could go the facetious way and go yes, or no. Here's the kicker. Healing energy works in this essence like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity for it to work. Okay, if you step off the balcony and you don't believe in gravity, or you do, you're still likely to fall. Now, the lady that I mentioned, and that's an excellent question there, LA. The lady that I mentioned I pulled out of the wheelchair told me flat out she was only there because her mother believed I could help her. No, she did not believe it. Proved her wrong in as much as I worked on it for an hour and a half, 2 hours on the first session, right? And I said, okay, now stand up. She looks at me and she goes, I can't stand up. I said, how about if we don't talk about what you can't do and you just stand up? If your legs work, you're standing upright. If they don't work, you're still sitting down. Well, she stood up. She herself did not believe I could pull it off. Okay, so no, the reality is the healing energy will work regardless. Okay, the funny part about it is if they don't believe, Joe, that is just terrible. Joe Monk, welcome back. Glad to see you. Joe Monk goes, I took my girlfriend's wheelchair away. She came crawling back. This is just terrible. But I will tell you, my brother used to train quadriplegics and paraplegics, and he'd take their wheelchair away to, if you will, provoke them into healing. But whether you believe healing works or not doesn't really amount to a lot. It will make it easier to recognize for the client if they believe it's possible. This is where the concept of faith healing comes into play. Okay, when somebody says, when a group of people get together and everybody's focusing on the same thing. Don't mind me, just noise outside. We could get into some really bad jokes here. You know that, Joe. And by the way, for those of you that have friends in wheelchairs or girlfriends or boyfriends, don't go stealing their wheelchair. This is not nice. On the other hand, grabbing a second one and racing them down the hall with it is a lot of fun. But where it comes to belief, whether you believe it can work or you believe it can't, now, do understand here, LA, and all of you, their belief, the patient's belief is not critical. But I will tell you, if they are sitting there and telling you it won't work, do yourself a favor, let them have their way. Okay, because you cannot, number one, if they don't believe it's going to work, if they're adamant it won't, you've got to you've got to understand there may be a lot of things that they're afraid of. Okay, but the patient does not absolutely require the belief it'll work. It's best if they have an open mind to the possibility it could work. Okay. Now, like I said, if you think of energy healing, it's the same way you think of gravity and, for that matter, sunlight or the wind. You don't have to believe it that it exists for it to have an effect. Now, I did see a bumper sticker years ago that said, "Those of you that believe and live your life as though God does not exist, better pray you're right." Okay, and yes, prayer and affirmations do affect healing, because what it does is it focuses your mind on the healing modality and on putting the body back together. Okay, so this is where the benefits come in. Now, we get into this other neat little thing. Where are we here? We are at 5:10, which is good. We're a little ahead of schedule, but that's okay. Now, here's where we go into a real twisted outlook. Okay, when we take a look at healing, first and foremost, you got to remember one little detail. The double helix, I'm talking about the logical side of healing at this point. Okay, where it comes to the cells in your body, the double helix is what the majority of physicians know about. Okay, that's what they're concentrating on. The double helix does not have all the answers. You don't have to believe me. Do your own research. Okay, but the double helix, in case you're not aware, it looks like a ladder that's been corkscrewed. Okay, now, I knew a long time ago that is not the complete item. Okay, and we'll get to more parts of that as we go along, but here's the thing. We didn't have the technology originally to see the double helix. Now, because technology has gotten more refined, the leading research centers around the world are now working with the triple helix. Joe, you're absolutely right. But then let's face it. Joe Monk is just going, physicians treat the symptoms, not the cause. Absolutely right. Every illness you've got, every disease you've got, if you look at the word, it's a dis-ease. Something in your life is off kilter. Now, when we take a look at the triple helix, all of your abilities, okay, all of your healing capacity is locked in there. Now, here's a neat little kicker to it. Okay, if you believe in God, okay, and you believe God made man in God's image, we're talking inside and out. You've got the capacity to heal yourself, but you may not have the acceptance, experience, wisdom, understanding, all kinds of things. This is why modern doctors are of a useful commodity. Okay, this is why I say, do not stop seeing your doctors. You may not agree with their methods. If you don't, that's no problem. Find a different one. Okay, remember, you're the patient. You've got to feel comfortable. Same as if you're seeing a Reiki master or something like that effect. Now, I hear people call themselves Reiki masters. I look at it going, you're a Reiki practitioner. Because number one, no corporeal that I've ever run into knows all about healing. They have not mastered the skill. They're still learning. So are the doctors, by the way, and the mechanics and the lawyers. You get the picture. Okay, but when you look at the triple helix, it still looks like basically it looks like three ladders stuck together. Okay. See if I got something here. You're gonna have to forgive my art. Now, neat thing here, if you look at the triple helix, from the top, that's what it looks like. Okay, but it's corkscrews. It's corkscrewed. Now, this picture will come into play in a little bit again. But the triple helix has the information your body requires. Your body already knows what's wrong. Okay, so if you're looking at self-healing, understand you don't have to know what's off. All you got to know is something is. And you run that word through your head. Heal triggers the whole body's ability to heal. And when you go, I've got a problem with my wrist, so I'm going to work on that. It's kind of like your brain turns around and says, okay, let's get a construction crew down to the wrist and get it rebuilt. Okay, I watched a wonderful movie the other day by Pixar. Just watched it yesterday, called Inside Out 2. They do a fabulous job on showing the way that emotions work. Okay, kind of the same idea. Even if you take things and put them into a cartoon-esque type of appearance, it may make it easier to comprehend. Understand that your imagination is a massive key in the entire process of healing. Whether you believe you're going to heal or you believe you're not, either way, you may find yourself accurate. I recommend that you focus on the fact that you are healing. Okay, now do understand healing is an ongoing thing. It is not something that stops. Your body is constantly rebuilding. But here's what very few people tell you. Well, I am glad you're healing there, Joe. I'll tell you, I used to ride motorcycle. And I was standing on the side of one day. Think the best one, do not do this at home, boys and girls. Okay. I was riding a motorcycle one day, going around a corner, going around an angle onto the bridge. I tilted my bike over. The guy in the high-rise pickup beside me decided, he decided to pull into my lane. Well, before I realized it, my foot pegs were under his car. Do not do this. I don't know how I survived it. Okay, I did the first thing that came to mind. I'm leaned over, I'm running on a corner, I've got to straighten the car up, I've got to straighten the bike up. So I knocked on his passenger door. Thankfully, he pulled over to the driver's side and got out from on top of me. Net result, I stood the bike up and didn't get run over. Okay, but with healing, as long as you can visualize it coming together, you can accelerate your own healing. And you'll notice the term accelerate. Now, for those of you that are looking at the evolution as compared to creationism, well, Al, I'm Joe, get a dirt bike next time. No, seriously, I'm glad you lived through it. Okay, I could go through all kinds of annoyances that I actually went through on a motorcycle. Fortunately, never had a serious accident. But what no doctors and the scientists won't tell you is I don't think any will. However, check with them. Most of them will tell you that you cannot reprogram cells. Every cell in the corporeal body has a complete blueprint of a healthy body, of your healthy body. Therefore, when you're working on that issue of heal, your body will access that perfect cell and go, okay, I require these cells. Well, the thing is, cells can be reprogrammed. They are finding in the advanced research labs that skin cells can be reprogrammed to work like a nerve cell. See, now I keep trying to tell you, Joe, Harley Davidson, great bike. Personally, I would never own one. Okay. But the reason for that is they vibrate so much they dislocate my bottom knee and my right knee. But what I was going to say is Harley Davidsons are great for street. If you're going to go down a ravine, take a dirt bike. They're easier to control. You can reprogram any cell in the human body, okay, in the corporeal body, to do something else. In this fashion, you can accelerate your healing. Okay, and yes, in answer to that question that is likely sitting out there, okay, I am in the process of documenting this particular healing modality, and it will be coming out in the near future in another self-help booklet, same size, still the $20 Canadian, in your hand, just about anywhere in the world. Okay, basically it boils down to, if the mail gets there, we can get it to you. If you're in the middle of the Congolesian jungle, sorry, mail people don't go there. Okay, that's just the reality behind it. And yes, we're working on other options of getting things faster. But for the moment, that's where it's sitting. Now, we grab this. It's great. I can see you close up now without my glasses. Put my glasses on, I can't. I just don't have the focus anymore. Now, let's go into the basic science side of things. Science tells you that the most common element in existence, and this is all part of the building blocks of your body, okay, the most common element, the most common atom is a hydrogen atom. But, watch this. Where'd my book go? And again, we're just going to have to pardon my art. I have decided, however, once finances are right, I am going to go to school. I am going to go to college and take an art course. But now, I don't need that because I don't need it. I do have ink. Basic Chemistry 101. Okay, I think it's chemistry. If you take a look at that, you'll see these three circles. We have a hydrogen atom. One molecule with one electron. Okay, we'll get into the actual configuration later on the internal side. But scientists know that at random intervals, seemingly random, an electron will leave one atom and attach itself to another. Okay, now this is your hydrogen atom with one electron. When that electron leaves, it leaves a null, what I call a null atom. Okay, with no electrons. See, when this one electron goes and travels to another hydrogen to add to that one, now you've got two electrons attached. Now you've got a helium atom. But the hydrogen atom left is now what I call a null atom. Hopefully that makes sense. And yes, again, I am going to be putting a booklet together to explain that. Yeah, I'm just going to be studying LA. I've already decided I'm going to learn to draw first. Then I'll learn about painting and what have you. It's just, I got to do something. It's like I don't have enough. William, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, but we need them. You know, the funny part there, Joe, is the entire OT drive that the starships use. The oscillatory densification of tri-transformational equilarity, okay, is literally based on the null atom and the electrons moving through it. But that's a discussion for a little later. The triangle there, and we will get to that again. But that triangle we were looking at there, William, this is the top view of the triple helix. Okay, it does have another purpose, but we'll get to that momentarily. Now, when we are looking at basic chemistry, your body knows exactly how to correct whatever is off kilter, whatever dis-ease you have. Okay, now again, energy flows like water. In your physical house, you design, this is why I say everything is connected. In your physical house, your physical work, get the clutter out of the way. Okay. The reason you do that is because by removing the clutter, you will end up, when you remove the clutter, you get the garbage out of the way in order to let the energy flow more freely. Joe, yes, every corporeal entity on Earth has a triple helix. Anything the scientists have proven has a double helix, they have a triple. It's an extra bar behind the other two. It's just technology is only just getting there. And William, yes, that atom, I've drawn it as a ball, but rest assured that's not what it looks like. Plants as well. Plants, animals, any kind of biomaterial has a triple helix. Now, I haven't entirely turned around. I haven't turned entirely around and looked at the superstructure of minerals yet. And you'll notice I said yet. In a nutshell, William, triple helix does more than what the double helix is. Double helix is part of the triple helix. Okay. And yeah, it goes against virtually everything people have been taught. Now, the neat part about it, the neat part about it is once you accept that you actually have the ability to accelerate your own healing, then you can start making headway. My doctor, well, virtually every doctor says, as you get older, your eyesight will fail, your digestive system will slow down. Sorry, your metabolism will. You'll develop arthritis, your body will break down. I'm in better shape at 61 than I was at 30. Okay, actually, I'm probably in better shape than I was at 20, but I'm not entirely certain. Okay, the reality of it is, all of it is interconnected. Now, take a look, for those of you looking at evolution and creationism as a debate as to which one fits, think of this. Okay, take a look at the superstructure of the physical cell. Okay, of the human cell. Okay, you've been taught there is a proton, a neutron. There's a proton and a neutron. I'm telling you, there is a third substance there. Okay, and again, I just simply call it the null. Okay, simply because I don't have a name for it. Okay, I don't have a name for it. I can tell you there's three parts to it. Okay, Einstein tried to tell the scientists of his time, about the theory of relativity. Now, the reality that I found out, and no, I was not Einstein in a prior life. When Einstein was alive, I spent most of my time in jail. Or in the military, take your pick. Might have been sort of the same thing, but anyway. He was trying to tell them about the theory of relativity. He settled for teaching them about a couple of other things that are actually accurate, i.e. the speed of maneuvering as you get close to the speed of light. But, and don't take my word for it. Okay, theory of relativity, as I came to understand it, 1 plus 1 equals 3. Okay, now, it is not mathematics. One point plus the other point. Okay, that's 1 plus 1. Where's the third point? Everything in the middle. Okay, 1 plus 1 equals 3. Once you can accept that, you can start accelerating your healing system. Okay, because it literally boils down to believing that it is already underway. We are looking at. Now, as you can tell, we're, like I said, this is just a cursory. Let me see here. Just want to make a note for myself. Because these are little booklets I am going to be putting out for those of you, because the way I come to understand it is the amount of different information I'm sitting on. It's got to go somewhere. I appreciate that, Joe, but I'll tell you, physically, I'm not in great shape. Better than I was 30 years ago, absolutely. But, much as I am, I'm quite happy to say that by cutting back on how much I was eating, watching more importantly the type of food I was eating, and moving a little more, I'm down 60 pounds from what I was 2 years ago. Healing works. Okay. Now, what I was going to say, and this is where I mentioned that triangle had a point. The human cell has 3 parts to it. Okay, inside the cell. The electrons are an extra thing altogether. Okay, you've got the proton, the neutron, and what I call the null. Okay, simply because I haven't picked a name for it yet. Okay, understanding I was calling things paranormal before paranormal was actually a functional word. But when you look at that, and then you've got everything orbiting around. Now, take that. Now we'll blow it up to the world. Okay, and this is where some of you are going to argue with me, and that's okay. You're more than welcome to it. Monique, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The pagan religion, most of it, and if somebody sees it differently, absolutely speak up. I put my foot in my mouth with a member of the Church of Satan years ago, and was quite happy to change my outlook. But the pagan religion looks at 4 types of elements: air, earth, fire, and water. I'm telling you, I work with 3. Okay, and the reason I work with 3 is this: watch the maneuvering and the effect, the patterning of water and air. If you watch the way they behave, they react in exactly the same fashion. Okay, so you've got air, earth, and fire. Okay, those are the 3 elements I work with. Now, the neat little part is when we take a look at optics, you have the light, the dark, and everything in the middle. Again, relativity. Now, here's where we throw everything into a tailspin. And you guys are going to love this one. Now, you've been taught that, and I'm not going into all of the stuff on astronomy right now. It's all connected and you'll understand why, I hope. We'll start here. And we have Earth. You notice we got a triangle there. So we've got Earth. Okay. Now, there is another star. Now, this is the solar system. This is the one that we are in here. Okay. Then you've got another one here and a third one here. And you're not going to believe this. Scientists will argue the point and say, no way are you right. I'm not worried about what they say. I will tell you, might be 1,000 years down the road when you figure it out. Oh, LA goes, most pagans consider 5. Air, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And I do agree with the spirit one. Okay. It's the issue of combining the air and water that I work with. But thanks very much for that, LA. And Angels in Life, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, here's the kicker. We have, we've got our solar system, the Sol system. Okay. I am telling you, I cannot prove it. Say you could call this theory if you will. But Earth is part of a trinary, as in 3-star system. Okay. Now, intriguingly enough, it'll likely be a good 1,000 years before people figure that one out, but that's okay. This is just what I'm looking at. It's like I said, it is all connected. You take a picture of the way a universe is laid out if you're looking at astronomy, and you'll notice it's got 3 components. Okay. Now, if you believe in evolution, this is great. I believe in a combination. Okay. But I'm weird. Now, a buddy of mine years ago came to me, he coined the phrase for me. Maybe he heard it from somebody else. I don't know. Okay. And that is, he said, to know oneself is to know all. Once you understand how you function, you can understand how everything else works. And I'm telling you, the more I figure out about me, the more relaxed I am, and the more stable my heart is, which is a pretty necessary thing. Where are we here? Basic. Okay. No, take that off so I can see. It's kind of weird, Used to require my glasses to see anything. Now I gotta take them off to see anything close. Okay, now, this is where the brain kicks into gear. Hopefully. And again, guys, do not take my word for it directly. Absolutely hear me out. I certainly encourage you to do that. But do your own research. Now, here's where we start with all sorts of things. Start with your body, with your spirit. Your body already knows what's going on. Yeah, Joe's just saying we just jumped sideways here, and that's okay. Like I mentioned, Joe, this is not a bad thing. But Joe's just letting us know. He goes, I've got a very interesting setup here at my house, especially at night. But I must remind myself still, nothing bad will happen. But what I see is extraordinary. Well, there we go. Beautiful one. How are you doing? Glad you could join us. And beautiful one is going, if someone needs a healing, should they do? Oh, that should be I'm presuming that's what should they do. Number 1, if somebody requires healing, I do strongly recommend, I absolutely recommend that you talk to a practical doctor. Okay. Utilize the education that has been gifted to some of these people with a lot of work. check if there's something they can identify. Okay, yes, I'm an accelerated healer. Absolutely. But check with the modern doctor, modern pharmacist, herbalist, naturopath, whatever you want to call it. Look for the logical, the quantifiable explanation first. If what they're doing isn't working, okay, do not just disregard them, but track down somebody that claims to be an energy healer or an acupuncturist. But if you're going to an acupuncturist, the best ones I've found are Chinese trained. They don't have to be Chinese themselves, but the Chinese education, where it comes to acupuncture, is far and above other people. Okay, the other nations. Something to do with them spending thousands of years getting ahead of the game. Okay, if you're going to go into somebody claiming to be an energy worker, number one, understand physical contact is not required for energy work. It is for reflexology, pranic healing, acupressure. These are all methods of healing modalities. Okay, that's the best way to go about it. Okay, whatever you do, understand if you've got a question of a physician or anybody else, ask directly. Don't hint. Don't give them a cursory question, and don't just leave it unstated. An unanswered question will not help you. Okay, so when we look at the overall state of the universe, it is built the same way that the cell structure of the corporeal form is built. Now, I haven't looked into the crystalline structure of the planet and what have you. So I'm still working. We're still looking at research going on there. The neat part about it is when we are looking at the way healing works, it works because your body already knows. You as an individual don't have to know what's causing the problem. You simply have to know something's off. Okay, nutrition is critical. Yeah, Angels in Life is just. Thanks for the corroboration there, Angels. Do appreciate it. The fact of the matter is, you don't have to understand gravity for gravity to affect you. You don't have to understand the pharmaceutical industry for medications to work. But I will tell you, doctors on the whole are not trained in the details of the drugs that they're prescribing. Okay, when you've got questions, okay, go to the pharmacist. They're the ones that are trained in the medicines. Ask questions. Okay, a couple of suggested ones that you might not think about. Because again, if you don't know the question, you're not going to ask it. If you're taking more than one medication, talk to a pharmacist about how those two specific medications affect each other. And definitely recommended, take the pill bottle with you. This is one of those questions many people, myself included originally, don't ask. Okay, by the way, oddly enough, what we're talking about here applies to your material world. It applies to the financial world as well. Okay, and yes, I'm in the middle of dealing with that as well. Who is trying to contact? Yeah, well, that is not going to work. That's going to try and contact me again. Yes, I said that because I don't know what it is or who it is. I've just had a lot of people going, they'll phone me on Skype out of nowhere. They go, oh, well, I think we should really get to know each other. Guys, I'm taken. In time, I will be married, but I sure as heck am not looking for another girlfriend. And for those of you who are that way inclined, definitely not looking for a boyfriend. But nothing wrong with it in my eyes, just not my thing. Now, when you've got questions, ask people in a clear and concise fashion. Okay? And, I start off explaining things in the language I know. And then I will downgrade it. But I do the same thing. Oh, there we are. Angels goes, I used to go to what is called a PharmD. They're medical doctors who are specifically trained in pharmaceuticals. Absolutely, if they've got the training, talk to them. Okay, absolutely talk to them. Okay, so from that end, but it's all connected in the same bin. And like I said, if you happen to believe in creationism, then there's a pretty solid indication as to why that idea holds. Okay, because if you look at the structure of the corporeal cell, it ends up you'll see a similarity between it and the major structure of the universe. Now, go back over here. This is what I was referring to about aiming and getting everything sorted around. Now, here's the thing. Okay. Now, we start where it comes to healing. Your body knows how to heal. Let's face it, doctors didn't have a whole lot to do with your body, with the cell division of your body as it evolved. Your body knows itself inside and out. Here's where it gets screwy. As you do your own research, okay, you develop knowledge. Okay, information coming in is just data. As you organize it and start to understand it, okay, what ends up happening is you start to gain knowledge. Now, this, of course, is going to be limited. You clearly are not going to know as much as what your body knows. My advantage, simply put, is I know my body knows how to heal. Okay? I just have to remind myself on occasion, I don't have to understand it all. Okay? This is why I finally figured out how my teeth are going to rebuild. Okay? Haven't figured out how to stop my beard growing from here to here. So I have to shave that once in a while. But you gain knowledge by experience. Practical, hands-on knowledge. Definitely recommend it. Talk to somebody that's done things successfully before you do them in order to avoid pitfalls. Talking to me about becoming a millionaire, not a good idea. Not a millionaire. Okay, I can tell you how money works, and I've got another couple of books in that area. These are all coming out. This one, where it comes to finances, this neat little one here, Believe in Your Finances and Follow Your Dreams. All of these books are available at the link at the top of the chat room, the Buy Me a Coffee link. Okay, and again, books this size, $20 Canadian, in your hand, anywhere in the world that we can ship to. Okay, needless to say, if you live in the middle of Serengeti, we likely don't go there. You're also likely not on a computer. But we're working on ways of getting there too. Now, that said, your knowledge is practical experience. Then we go to that thing called education. Or, as some would say, disinformation, miseducation, whatever. You're taught to listen and to answer questions the way that other people want them answered. Okay, prime example, when I was going to school, I was asked to go to the front of the class and show the class how I solve this compound algebraic equation. So I walked up to the class, up to the blackboard. I looked at the blackboard and I read the equation, wrote the answer down, and started decompiling it from the bottom. Well, I had taken the teacher literally. She stops me halfway up the blackboard. She goes, "Keith, what are you doing?" So I'm showing them. I said, "I'm showing the class how I solved this equation." "Well, where'd you get the answer?" I pointed at the answer. I said, "Well, it's right, isn't it?" And she goes, "Well, yes, it's right. But where'd it come from?" I said, "I don't know. I'm working on it." She immediately tells me to go sit down. Never called me to the front of the class again. "Well, how you doing? Glad you could join us." Glad to be back, to be honest with you. Long and rough couple of weeks. But I do feel I've got things under track again. The fact of the matter is, the education system, you're being taught so many ways to really mix things up a bit. Okay, to really mix things up a bit, because you're taught that you have to do things in certain fashions. My training, I was lucky in school. The teachers I got wanted, first of all, they wanted the answer. Then the second set wanted the answer and some work, preferably their own. Then the third set, wanted their own. So ultimately, I ended up coming up with the answers my way. Couldn't always explain how I got them. This is why when I'm looking and when people are telling me they're specialists in this field, I'm like, okay, but you're missing these points. The thing we have to understand when we're talking about healing, now we started with the physical body. Okay, finances are affected. Okay, they're affected in the exact same way. Now, what would you do if I told you all of society on Earth, and for that matter out there, is healed the exact same way? LA. We were, years ago, I redirected and you can do what you will with this, redirected a hurricane years and years back to stop it from going into Florida way back when my girlfriend was living down there. Different girlfriend. Okay. But we will talk after the show if you'd like. We'll see what we can do about redirecting the hurricane for you. And let's not go with that's not possible. This is what Ellie was referring to. Monique, you said please expound, but I have no idea on what end you're talking about. So I will, but I'm going to need the rest of the question. The thing is that society on Earth is all interconnected via communication. Now, every time I've looked at communication with well over 100,000 clients, okay, and I mean way over, I have never seen a situation where communication was not a 50-50 problem. Okay, so when we're talking about the world itself, when people realize that all peoples are the same, whether we are talking plants, animals, humans, other races, all of it, okay, they all desire the same thing. Food in their belly, shelter when it's bad weather. They desire to be treated with respect and to be, to be cared for. Okay, and to be cared about for that matter. every single species I've run into. Even, I mean, my older brother used to pet bumblebees. Okay, he'd have the big fluffy red or black and yellow ones. They'd land on his hand, and he'd sit there with them on his hand. I watched him pet them. Okay, because they like being treated decently as well. That's the important factor. And this is why I say all of it is connected. I just got to make certain I did this right. Whoop. See, the neat part about it is I got way too much on the go on occasion. But the short story I was talking about earlier, okay, tracked it down. It's been fully put into the book and edited, meaning I just have to get the figure finished. And like I said, this neat little critter here, okay, and yes, I will be bringing more of these out again, okay, as I work on them. This is the backbone character in the short story that I've got. Okay, you'll notice, he's a little twisty. He's even got a tail, wings, the whole 9 yards. But it got lost a little while ago. So, I'm working on those. And again, guys, if you've got questions I haven't laid out, I've decided to see what I can do about getting a little more organized. Obviously, I got a little more organized this time regarding what I was looking at. Now, again, we're going to go to this neat little thing. What did we learn? What we did so. Phone's about to die. Not good. Problem solved. Now, here's the neat thing. Okay, when we are talking about the whole idea of whether we're looking at creationism or evolution, okay, what would you do if I told you they are inextricably connected? That reality itself is a matter of creation and evolution. Because let's remember something here. Okay, regardless of which belief you go with. Okay. Regardless of which belief structure you work with, take your pick. Okay. But here's the thing. If you believe God created everybody, okay, if you believe God gave you free will and freedom of choice, then you're going to have to accept the fact that the mess this planet got into, the state of your health, is your doing. God's not going to come down here and go, you're healed. He's not going to do it. But he will give you the tools to do it for yourself. And like I said, okay, now your healing can start today just as easy as this. Okay, I'm not happy with the way my health is right now. It's not in perfect shape. Thank you, LA. We are down to the 30-minute mark. Okay, now, there's all this talk about instant gratification and all these newfangled ideas. Oh, I've got this new technique out, the 6-second tool to make you healthy. Okay, in a week. Here's the thing. Okay, and I've done this. I found this worked out really well. I thought anyway. I'm going to give you a tool that starts effective now, not 6 weeks down the road. I got a pen in my hand. I'm not happy with it there. I actually desire it over there on the shelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off my tail feathers and carry the thing over here, okay, and put it on the shelf. I've just changed my life right now because the pen is no longer over there. I still desire the pen. So I'm going to bring it back with me. Okay. Now, the neat part about it is that, we did this a couple of weeks back and proved that takes about 6 seconds if my leg was working right. But it boils down to one simple issue. You have to have the belief that first and foremost, you personally are worth the effort. Okay. Now, I only follow 3 laws in life. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay. By following those 3 laws. Now, take a look at the ones you follow. All the guidelines you follow. Compare them to those 3. Okay. What you'll find, I do believe, is every one of your belief structures fits inside the 3 I follow. LA is just saying many major changes start with small ones. My dad used to say, take care of the pennies, the penny and the dollars will take care of themselves. There's an African proverb. Okay. Now, LA's down in the States. She's got that info. I'm up in Canada. I was taught the idea, take care of the pennies. The dollars will take care of themselves. In Africa, there's a proverb that goes, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. Okay. How do you move a mountain? 1 stone at a time. Okay. You start with the little projects. And this is where this neat little list comes in. If you're not doing it already, whether it's on paper or on a cell phone, on a notepad, whatever, get 3 things you're not content with in your life. Make changes to them. But keep those things to 15 minutes to half an hour in length. Okay. The reason for that is you will see the changes taking place and have further motivation because of it. Where am I sitting here? Go down here. Ultimately, all of this is connected. And again, if you've got questions, whether we're talking about this topic or a different one down the road, okay, questions are absolutely welcome. Okay, now, here's a challenge for you. Start changing your life. Okay, do not wait for somebody else to do it for you. Absolutely, by the way, prayer and positive affirmations work like a charm. But if you don't get off your tail feathers, and I did this before, and let's just make sure. Got something else I need to. Okay, I did this before. I'm just not doing it right now. But here's what with no action does. I'm going to pray. I'm going to positively tell myself this pencil's going to end up on that shelf behind me, right on the same shelf the picture's on. Okay, now here's what prayer with no action. Leave your butt glued to the chair and just pray this works. Everybody pray with me and see if that helps. Everybody, if you don't want to pray, that's no problem. Just positive affirmation, things like the show back in the late 70s, early 80s called You Can Do It by Duffy Moon. Okay, let's all just imagine this pencil landing on that desk. We throw it. I didn't get up. I have no idea where it went. It's over there somewhere. That's how effective prayer and positive affirmations are if you don't get your butt off the chair. Okay, you were given free will. You were given free choice. Everybody was. You weren't given freedom of consequence. Oh, Ellie, that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, Ellie goes, I had a dozen small projects starting last May. I'm working on the last one right now. Obviously, the one I really wasn't looking forward to. This is the same problem virtually everybody has. Not that that'll make you feel any better. Okay, Lord knows, most of the projects that I had listed, I didn't get to. But then I discovered a number of things. That was I kept relying on what other people were going to get done. many of the projects I wanted completed were in somebody else's hands. Okay, the short story I found the short story about a week ago. Okay, got it transferred from hard copy to computer, then went through, expanded it, edited it. It is now ready to go to print. I just have to put an ISBN number to it and get the figure finished painting for the cover. Again, it boils down to take all projects, and in that one book that I wrote, this one here, In Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams, it literally gives you the backbone, okay, of everything I did to physically change my own world. Oh, excellent, LA. LA's just going, tonight we'll see her done. So I will have a short story coming out very, very soon because of the fact that it's already done. I just have those two pieces I mentioned. Okay. Again, lots of projects all hanging in the balance. Now it's time to get started moving on them. Well, it was time a long time ago. But where it comes to healing, when you got so much going on in your head or in your body, pick one thing, not necessarily the priority. Okay. Inside your head, inside your body, inside your living area. Pick one thing you're not content with. Make that change. Because as you alter the things you're not content with, all you're left with is a life that is full of the things you're content with. Okay, right now I am very happy to say, in the bank, I have my rent for next month is sitting in the bank. Okay, I've still got money coming in that hasn't arrived yet, but all utilities are now up to date. Food is in the house. All in all, this means what I've been telling you I'm working on, I'm now telling you. And no, I can't prove it because I'm not about to take you into the rest of my house. Okay, but one of the biggest things I've always looked at is if I'm going to tell you this is what I'm working on, if there is a way of making it happen, I will. Now, in all fairness, part of the majority of what keeps me coming back here to do this is every time I suggested ending it, okay, I've had emails and people contacting me going, please don't quit. So, I'm not. But I have found that by telling you what I'm working on, it does help me stay focused and somewhat more motivated. And by the way, LA, I know you haven't said anything about it tonight. That's because I've been in pretty decent shape. Actually, I had a little bit to eat right before dinner, right before coming on here. And I've already got dinner set up to eat as soon as I get done. You know, and on the plus side, well, not really a plus side, my coffee's running out. Of course, we're down to only 20 minutes left, so that's okay. But when you take a look at the entire package, all things in your life are connected. When you alter the path things are on, if you're not content with the way they're going, make an adjustment. Even, we're told, where are we here? Yeah, I don't doubt that, LA. Guys, this is why I said, LA, yeah, she is definitely one of my moderators. The reality is, she keeps an eye on me health-wise, just by looking through the video and through the camera and going, okay, you're running off kilter. Now, the neat part about it is this. When you start realizing and accepting that all things are connected. Oh yeah, that's another one of those books that's already written. Is I've got a book like this, okay, on numerology, on a different approach. Okay, and I'm doing that because these questions are not being asked. At least I haven't heard them being asked. So I'm putting them on paper so that when I drop dead, because I will eventually drop dead for the last time, not looking forward to it, certainly not worried about it. Glad to hear it, Joe. You know, the reality of it is that by taking everything you're not content with and altering it, okay, what you're doing is eliminating the negative energy, thereby leaving room for positive energy. And this is why I say, whatever you're doing with your life, every time you see, read, see, experience, listen to, feel, whatever, every negative you go through, find two positive things to experience. In this fashion, you will find you are concentrating way more on the positive side of life than you are on the negative. The nice part is what we're now looking at, like we're sitting at, well, I've been keeping an eye on how many people have been in the chat room. Okay. We've had almost 10. Most of the time we've been sitting at 10 today. I don't know if this is because people missed me or because I've actually been organized or a combination. Don't really care. The message I came to bring to this world, again, is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay. Now, when I talk about having books out, I've seen some authors, especially some of the new age ones. I got a book out and somebody will ask a question and go, what's the answer to this? And they'll hold the book up and they'll go, the answer's in my book. Buy my book. Buy my book. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I like selling the books. Thank you very much, LA. I'll tell you right now, you ask me a question about any one of the books I've written, I'll give you the answer. I will tell you. I will say, they are for sale at the top of the stream of the chat room. There's a link to buy me a coffee. Okay, where you can get in touch with me for consulting for any of the books I've written, for guest appearances on your show or on somebody else's, for live appearances. Reach out. I will go where I can. Okay, I'm quite open to it. The reality of it is we have a mess on our hands right now, but working together, we can turn this world around. We can get it back on track. I would love to see the human race start a brand new, restart an old pandemic, in all fairness. Yeah, I know I said that terrible word, a pandemic. Hear me out. Smile. Okay. In my understanding, it's easier to smile than it is to frown, as in takes less muscles. Okay. And it's the one gift that costs you nothing monetarily speaking to make, to give somebody. Plus, it's the only gift I know of where nobody I've ever heard of complained they were getting it. Certainly, I've had people ask, well, what are you smiling for? And, to that end, for those of you that are having a really bad day, you've had a breakup, it's been bad. Here's something to make you smile. I just saw this on Facebook the other day. When you feel like you're having a bad day, okay, just keep in mind, somewhere out there, your ex is now dating somebody else who thinks they found the best person on the planet. Okay, let that sink in for half a minute. The nice part about it, when we take a look at the way this world is, it is the way it is because we as a species have put people in place and said, you take care of it, I'm going to ignore it. As a species, we've done this. Okay? As co-inhabitants of this planet, it's time for us to get up, start working together and literally make the changes necessary. Okay, and since we're in that edge again, yeah, I mean we're getting down to the end. That's usually where we get all the little odds and ends. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. LA's just reiterated for us here. Check out our free newsletter on the Buy Me a Coffee link. We don't share the emails. We don't. But here's the neat little kicker. Okay, whoop. Back's still not working as well as I'd like. Just grabbing something here to show you something. This is a security system for those of you that are worried about, well, what if somebody hacks your computer? Well, here's the neat part about hacking my computer. This is, now some of you guys recognize this. This is my email database. Okay, right here. Now, if you know of a computer hacker that can get into my database, okay, each email is on a card. Okay, needless to say, computer hackers can't get it. Okay, not that one. I think it's that one. Nope. Like I said, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. There we are. And to be safe, here's where I keep all my email, all my passwords. You can tell you're going to have a hard time hacking my computer to get somebody's email. Okay. Now, you're more than welcome there, Renee. I really do appreciate you being here. Joe, a white light, a white orb or light when it's up in the air, way too many variations. You could be looking at a number of things. Okay, I'd be inclined to say if it's just an orb shape, you're likely looking at a natural phenomenon more often than not. But obviously, light's the normal. However, the Zerziks most often, and they're another race, and we've talked about those in the past. Zerziks tend to come up as white. Okay, Ubion are a smaller orb. Okay, and of course, if you're looking at, drawing a blank again. Hate that. That's why I've got all this information written down, is because sadly I got so much sitting in my head. This would be that book, reference manual. And I gotta get that one tied off too. Talk about having too many things on the go on occasion. Where are we here? There we are. It may be. Nope, that was wrong. I was gonna say it might be the Kinlar, but the Kinlar don't do that. There we are. You might be looking at a Zotar ship. Zotar they are little reptilians. They're only about that tall. Okay. And quite frankly, they look like a gecko. Where are we sitting here? Oh. No, I said the Zerziks. Where are we here? Get that there. There you go. Going back here. Well, you got it right. Exactly. Well, Zotar is correct. Although the spelling's off, at least from what I've been shown. That's wrong. I do not like giving the wrong spelling. I think that's wrong. Ah, double A. There's what I did wrong. The Zerzex are one of the few species that actually came through from the last rendition. Zotar they're a tiny little race. They're only about that tall. Okay. They get other people to build their ships for them. But they're just little guys. They kind of look like a gecko. But the thing is, whether we are talking ancient races or we're talking ancient races are ones that evolved on Earth, or we're talking off-worlders as in the ones coming from out there, they are still people. Okay, one of the things we have to remember is as you link that connection together, it's okay, Ellie, I have to double check myself. But look at it this way. If you ever consider your spelling bad, I knew a person years ago, and I can't remember how she spelled it, but it started off, I'm going to see if I can do it right. That was how she spelled the word geology. That was what she wrote. And I took a look at this and went, what name was that supposed to, like what word was that supposed to be? There is always somebody that can spell better, do something better than you, think faster, do more mathematics, whatever. Somebody is always better. Somebody's always worse. Okay. The only thing that I look at, and I mentioned this a long time ago, but Joe Stewart phrased it beautifully when he went, I'm not perfect, but I am doing my best. This applies to everybody, to myself especially. I'm not perfect by any means. Okay. But I am doing the best I can. One of the things we have to realize with this world is if you concentrate on the negative things going on in life, that's what you're going to pretty much pull to you. Now it's a question of making absolutely certain that we start focusing on building this stream. Now, I am not the best speaker, in case you hadn't noticed. Okay, I'm also not the worst. But this is a message that must get out there. Okay, because if we leave the world on the path it's currently on, we are in serious, serious trouble. Okay, the fact of the matter is, I worked out the entire superstructure of my company, of Intervoice Enterprises. So once I am making over $2,500 a month coming in, I've already laid it out where 80% of the net profit above that will be going back out to the population. I don't have to have $1 billion a month. I really don't require it. Don't get me wrong. If somebody wants to give me $1 billion a month, go to the top of the link. Absolutely drop it for me. Okay. Absolutely do. That being said, you're dropping that kind of money, I'm really going to look into it. Well, thank you so much, LA. LA's just done exactly what I've asked her to do. We are down to the last 5 minutes. With that in mind, glad to be back. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me, guys. And for sharing your time with us. Really appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow because now we're back in the flow of things, getting moving forward. And so I'll be back again tomorrow, 4:30 Pacific until 6:30. Until then,